All right. And five, four, three, two, one. What is going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Culture Attack right here on the Patreon, exclusive Patreon show with me tonight is a good friend of mine back on the back on the saddle, back on the driver's seat, my co-pilot, if you will. Drew Yari, what's going on?
Ahoy hoy! I am here. I'm glad to be back. I'm glad the show's back because I do love this show, and we have a big chunk of things to talk about that
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to talking about.
nice old chunk. And yeah, you guys are reading the title right now. We got some X-Men 97 discussion. Of course, we got WrestleMania since that's the biggest thing, or one of the biggest things going on right now in this season. And also Quiet on Set, which I saw two out of the four episodes before we got on here to record the show. By the way,
Mhm.
and got a lot to say, and especially in this time period where it just seems like everything and everyone's getting exposed. Um, I mean, there's no such thing as coincidences. That's always been my saying, because it's the reason why all the stuff is coming out now when people were privy to all this but just decided to turn a blind eye, or they just didn't know. And also, before the show started, Diddy, his
I
two
saw that.
homes,
Yes.
yeah, his two homes are raided by uh by the government, and I asked them to say about that as well. So we are going to hit the intro very quickly, because what's a show without an intro and outro?
Mhm.
So be right back in a minute.
Go time!
All right, we are back. Whew, where do we begin? Guess we can just go straight to X-Men 97.
Mhm.
Okay, so I saw both episodes
Mhm.
earlier today, and what the show does get right is definitely the feel of the original X-Men, from back in the 90s. That feel with updated graphics, the animation style. It's like a new twist to a classic, which is pretty cool. And there were definitely a lot of nostalgia points. Um, and also you got some of the original voice actors returning to reprise their roles. Not all of them though.
Right.
Not all of them, which I mean nowadays that's like the thing where you gotta have the voice actor match with the nationality, which I'm in the vein where like it don't matter if a black
Mm.
guy is voicing a white dude or whatever, as long as the voice fits the character, that's what that matters. But it's just this new age thing where diversity, the diversity points, they gotta hit it.
Mhm.
Not a fan of that, but whatever. But I do say that there are a lot of intertwining stories going on at once, which is pretty good. It's something I enjoy. However, there are things that, and I guess it has to do some of the things within the show and other things outside the show. The X-Men 95, excuse me, X-Men 97, the creator, he was basically let go from the show, from Marvel, because he had got some spicy content. He
Mhm.
has a OnlyFans, and when there was rumor that he left the show, I knew that, yeah, sun is up. They must have found some dirt on him, and it's just this trend. It's this trend with these showrunners, and they end up having a messed up past. They end up having some dirt, and it usually spells disaster for the show in question. And to me, I'm still very cautiously optimistic about the whole thing, because the past, you look back in the past, they have a track record. Disney, Marvel have a track record, and it's just very hard to let your guard down and just expect that they will put on good, good content. And I mean, so far, with few issues here and there, like, the show isn't bad,
Mhm.
but I do worry. I do worry because that the bait and switch is coming. And the other thing is, with Morph, when they like had this ticker tick parade for Morph and his day, just I believe he's like non-binary, which cool. I mean, certain things don't shouldn't be celebrated in a way, because at the end of the day, um you let the character speak for itself. You let the writing speak for itself, and it's one of the red flags. But he wasn't overbearing. He has that comic relief in the show, but
Mhm.
it's time to throw down. He knows how to handle business. But again, I am super ultra mega cautiously optimistic, because again, we know this from Disney. We know this from Marvel. They tend to do the bait and switch. So I'm like a hawk. But the both episodes, the two premiere episodes, I enjoyed, and I'm interested to see the rest of the show. Hopefully, there's no funny business. But what are your thoughts with this so far?
I'm enjoying the show. Very much enjoying it. Like I do have some criticisms, but they're kind of like nothing burgers. Essentially, they're not enough to make me go fuck the show. Um, Maybe one thing, and this is kind of what I've seen people saying, is that it would have been so much better if they premiered this on Saturday.
Yeah,
Like Saturday morning cartoons. That would have been that like come on, you had it right there. And also in the first episode, there was one thing I was expecting that they did do in the second episode, which is have the guy in the beginning of the episode go previously on X-Men. Like they didn't do that in the first episode. I was like, come on.
yeah,
Like that was perfect. They did in the second episode. I think the guy was different, but
yeah.
I'm just like, just come on, you had one job. Like you could have just easily done it, but
Hmm.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it because this actually feels like an X-Men show. Like, as much as I love Wolverine and I love Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, a lot of those X-Men movies felt like Wolverine and the X-Men,
Yeah.
which that's never really been the case. Like Wolverine, you can tell those movies were written by Wolverine fanboys. Like
Right.
they just love Wolverine. Um, X-Men First Class was the only like X-Men movie that felt like an X-Men movie.
Hmm.
Um, and then this is probably one of the few, like not fewer, but like this is probably the best example of how to use Wolverine, perfectly in an X-Men show, which is he's a part of the team and he's not the leader. Cyclops is the leader, and Cyclops is a badass in this show. Like he's actually the leader. He's out there like whooping ass and not just like doing the whole I have lasers coming out of my eyes. Like no, he's actually a badass. And he's like whooping ass in that warehouse in like the beginning of the show. So
Yep.
I like him. Um, the voice actors I'm fine with. I get a kick out of the way Rogue talks because like she
Hmm.
literally sounds like an old Southern grandma,
Yeah.
which I love it. I'm fine with it. A lot of the dialogue I think is over the top. Granted, it's the '90s, so it's a continuation of a '90s show. And back then we didn't give a fuck. We loved it. Nowadays we still love it.
Oh
Even
yeah.
though some of it is like little soap opera ish.
Yeah.
Like with Storm, she has to monologue. She's like, I am the queen of the mystic elements. Like, she's talking like that. And like what you call it, Bishop is like, yes, all that monologue didn't work, huh? So Bishop's a cool character. But and I love Storm too. Storm's fucking awesome. Whenever I play any of these like X-Men video games or Ultimate Alliance, it's she's always part of my team. She's fucking badass. And they showed her to be a badass on the show, like when they're fighting all the Sentinels. And what is it? Cyclops goes, Storm, give him the weather forecast. And like the whole ground turns to ice, and she just fucking kills all these Sentinels. I'm like,
Mhm.
that's so fucking cool.
Yep.
So it's a shame that Halle Berry never really got to play her the way she should have been played. But I'm very much enjoying this show. I thought episode 2 was probably the better one because you got to see Magneto in a different light. I think you were kind of expecting Magneto to kind of pull the bait and switch of like, I'm really here to help you, or am I? No, like
Yep.
he ends it with spoilers of looking like he's about to kill these motherfuckers and drop them on the ground. But he's like, I could, but my friend had a challenge for me, and I'm here to honor his wish. So don't let me let you down. And
Literally.
he, yeah,
Literally.
exactly. So that was a good dialogue. That was a good scene. And Cyclops is offering him coffee, and he goes, "Poison? No, dark roast." Um, and then the show ends with that cliffhanger of the real Jean Grey, quote unquote, showing up to the X Mansion. You see Jean Grey in the back, like what the fuck? And that's supposed to be someone else. I think it's supposed to be Madeline something, Madeline Pryor,
Mm.
like a clone or whatever.
Yep.
Because I need to finish the first season. I need to refinish the first season because there's some things where I'm like, oh, that happened. Oh, that happened. Oh, now I really need to refinish the original season. But I'm really enjoying it. What I do like about it is that they found a way to take a kids show because like the '90s cartoon was essentially a kids show, and they kind of not forced it to be a little bit more edgier, but they kind of added a little edge to it to where it doesn't feel forced. Because like Wolverine's cussing in it, not like saying fuck or whatever. Like he's like saying damn or I'm pretty pissed off, bub. He's
Yep.
doing all that. So and the storylines seem a little darker, and it literally seems like you're watching an X-Men comic book
Yep.
come to life. And like the creator of the show, not the dude that got fired, but
Yep.
I forget his name. He just did an interview. Like he is like a walking encyclopedia of X-Men comic books. So like a lot of the imagery and all the storylines are from X-Men lore. So I really love this. It's the best thing that Marvel has put out in a while. Um This is good Marvel. Um, you know, I mean, you said you're cautiously, ultimately, mega cautious, which I understand. I get why.
Yeah.
But again, we'll just have to wait and see. I'm enjoying the show so far. I just really wish it would have premiered on Saturday. That's my biggest knock.
Yeah. Yeah. The dialogue from Magneto was like some of like it's just classic,
Hmm.
X-Men, and I'm intrigued to see his character arc throughout this season. I really am, because we expect Magneto to be the bad guy and to pull, do the bait and switch, but probably things will go well, and then something will happen to where, okay, like, I'm slipping. So we have to see how all this progressed. But I'm very excited, because I love Wolverine. Magneto's one of my favorites. Storm, and I wonder. I mean, with her character arc now after what
Mm.
happened. No, not too much spoilers, but yeah, like that one, like that one really like hurt. Like it really like it
Yeah.
left the impact with what happened to her. So yeah, it's a definite blow, but it's another story, and wondering how it progressed. And I can't, I want to see that unfold as the episodes progress. So I'm excited about that. But again, I'm liking it, but I'm just cautiously optimistic because, again, of track record from Disney and Marvel.
Hmm.
But so far, what we've gotten, minus a few gripes, minus a few criticisms and concerns, I'm enjoying. I'm enjoying this. If anything happens and it looks stupid, I'm bring it up. But so far,
Right.
nothing too major.
And the theme, they left the theme. I mean, they kind of tweaked the theme a little bit, but not to the point where it sounds stupid. It's like, this is the theme.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you knew this, but there was actually a lawsuit over that theme.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, like one of the bigger reasons why they took so long to like continue the show was of the theme, because there's like a Dutch like TV show that had a theme that was like that sounded like very similar to it, and you know I'm assuming Disney gave them like a nice little chunk of change
Yeah.
to like allow them to use it. Um, but yeah, like I never heard of this show. I didn't even know about it until like Double Toasted was talking about it. And when I heard the theme, I'm like, oh, that's definitely they definitely copied those motherfuckers.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kevin Feige was, allegedly he said, I'll bring the show back under two conditions. One, we bring back the original cast, and two, we bring back the theme, because that theme is what really makes that show.
Yeah.
And you know, I think I think it's a slap in the face from Disney when the theme starts and you see the option of skip intro. It's like, oh fuck you, I'm not
Hmm.
skipping this shit ever. Like ever. Like that theme gets me hyped.
Yeah.
So, but I love it.
Yeah. The theme stays, and one of the golden rules is you do not skip the intro.
No, no,
Do
no, no.
not.
I saw like a lot of reactions I saw to the episodes, and especially to the intro, where people saying, "No, fuck that. I'm not skipping.
Yeah.
Fuck that."
Yeah, that is that theme encapsulates the 90s, and nostalgia, when it's done right, it's something very beautiful. And I think that's why, for me, I'm very cautious, because the whole thing of remakes and uh re-releases and continuations of nostalgia, it's really easy to get caught in the vortex. um For God's sakes, Adam Sandler announced. Well, he didn't announce it, but the Happy Gilmore. There's gonna be a sequel for Happy Gilmore,
Hmm.
and Shooter McGavin, the actor that plays Shooter McGavin in the first film, he announced it. Said that Adam Sandler uh and said that, hey, like, look at this, the first draft for for the for Happy Gilmore too. And as a kid, I'm excited because that's like one of Adam Sandler's, like, you know like his greatest hits right there. But um wonder how it's gonna be. And it's just this era of cash grab, nostalgia base. So it's, at least for me, it's always a wait and see scenario. But it's like, is it just them running out of good ideas, or who knows? But I'm pretty much cautious, with nostalgia, and I'm a sucker for nostalgia. That's why I'm like holding myself accountable, not to be like, okay, we'll take this as it is and move on, and don't won't think about it. But you kind of have to think about it, because it's just easy for them to just take our money, with
Right.
all these nostalgia, cash grabs. But I mean, we'll see with all these new projects that are coming up, all these X-Men 97. We'll just wait and see how this story is told, and through these episodes, and possibly have it continue, more of a continuation. So we'll definitely see. Um and yeah, pretty much so far with these two episodes, I give X-Men 97 like a solid 8.5 out of 10, because it's too early. It's just two episodes, but so far what we've gotten, it's been pretty, solid. It's been pretty good, pretty good.
Right.
uh all right, so we got to talk about better WrestleMania.
Hmm.
um so with The Rock, um being inserted, or I should say him inserting himself in this year's WrestleMania season. Um, Again, more nostalgia. WWE feels different. It really does. When he's out there, like, he has a level. And I know the kids use this term like loosely, like aura. Everyone has aura, but he really has the definition of aura.
Hmm.
And I'm really, I'm happy, because as a fan of The Rock growing up, during the '90s, talking about X-Men '97, you know, um, it it is an odd to see in 2024, The Rock on TV. It feels like 1999, 2000. It really feels like that. But there's some issues I have, like, overall, just with how Cody Rhodes and especially Seth Rollins have been portrayed. And Cody and Seth have been made to look like bitches. Um, Little, like, Cody did get a rebuttal this past Monday night. But overall, just the way that he's been booked, and how Seth has been booked, and probably is by design. We don't know. We truly don't know everything. We just see, or don't see um what's been given to us on TV on a weekly basis. So we truly don't know everything, but just how it's looking, based on what we're getting or not getting, it doesn't look all that positive. Um, I do think that it's just part of the plan. It's part of, it's all by design. And I do think that once all this settles, I will get more sense out of this, but it does, when you do peel back the nostalgic layers, you see, okay, wait a minute, Cody hasn't gotten much rebuttal. Seth Rollins made to like a clown. Roman Reigns looks more just like a backhand, like a back player, just he's just like I get trying to find the words. He's basically a second fiddle.
Yeah.
Like, is Cody facing The Rock for the title? I thought he's facing Roman Reigns. So it's just that aspect of everything, and it's great to have The Rock in, in this WrestleMania season. That we needed him, no, but it's been, and it's been enjoyable overall. I just didn't like how they kind of they made Cody look like a bitch, giving up his spot, and we didn't get an explanation until The Rock came in and said, "Okay, this is the deal. This is what's going on." And to me, because all this other emphasis, like we got Bailey who won the Women's Rumble, and they've been putting on some good character work, good story, from Bailey's side, Damage Control side. Like not much emphasis is put on that. You have so many other layers, and it's just like it doesn't feel as important because of everything else, with The Rock and so on and so forth. I I really do think that a lot of this was planned, but a good amount of it was, they kind of pivoted. That's the word of the month. They pivoted. So what overall, just objectively, what is your view? What is your thoughts on this WrestleMania season? Is it better? Is it worse? Is it better than last year's WrestleMania build? What's your overall thoughts of this? Because just peeling everything back, it's like, could have been better.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts?
I think the build is better than the past few years because the past few years, the WrestleMania, the only build we would get with any match would be the main event, and every other match just felt like they would just be mashed together. Whereas this year, we kind of figured what the main event was going to be based off of what happened last year, and it has been the case. And then when CM Punk came back, we figured, okay, he's going to be in night one of WrestleMania against Seth, and that's the way it was kind of looking. And then he got hurt. Still think he's going to be involved somehow. Maybe not a match, but he'll be involved. And now you got The Rock in it, which they really threw us a curveball with that one, making us think, did Cody really just gladly give up a spot to The Rock? It's like, no, they can't make Cody look like a bitch. They can't. And then I'm glad they didn't. They really did swerve us. And now it's given us, some of the best character work, with The Rock that we've seen since 2003. Because, for a while when The Rock came back, doing his, face promos and making everyone laugh and talking about pie and, calling people, cookie puss or whatever. It's just like, yeah, it's funny, but it kind of comes off a little lame. Like we know The Rock's whole thing is he has Brian Gewirtz write his, promos for him. It literally just feels like you're remembering a promo. Like it doesn't really sound cool. Now that he's a heel, I think that's what people always wanted him to just be a heel.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people that don't like The Rock, especially, since what happened in the past few years, outside of wrestling, everything going on in his movies and, ruining the DCEU and blah, blah, blah. And now everything going on with Cody and Roman in the main event. It's like, okay, the Rock's a smart guy at the end of the day. He's a businessman, but he also understands how wrestling works. He's like, okay, you want to boo me? I'm going to give you a real reason to boo me. So he turns the clock back and starts wearing like the expensive vests and wearing sunglasses indoors and insulting the crowd, and they're still cheering him.
Yeah.
They're booing him and they're still cheering him. I thought not the previous Friday before this one where he did the rock concert. I thought that was great. I thought that was amazing. I like the new entrance where it's like a remix of his newer and then his Hollywood theme. Because that was my thing. I'm like, well, if he's gonna be a heel, bring back the Hollywood rock theme, and they did. And the Rock again. The Rock's smart. He understands how shit works, so he brought back his Hollywood rock theme, and just that entrance looks so amazing. Like that to me, I see that I'm like, oh, that's what a star looks like.
Oh yeah.
That looks awesome. Like the fact that he's separate from the bloodline kind of telling about where this is going to go. Like, is Roman getting bothered that The Rock is getting all the attention and not him? It's gotta. Even Cody kind of alluded to it on Friday, where he's like, let's talk about your partner, The Rock. You can't trust him, and Roman's trying to like reassure him. It's like, no, you're doing this shit again, blah blah. But yeah, I think the build to a lot of matches have been a lot better in recent years because we know what the two main events are. The other matches like Bailey and Asuka, not Asuka, Io. Um, I think that needs a little. I think that they should really. I mean, I don't want to say amp it up, but like, I mean, they kind of have, but sometimes it feels like they really rush through it at times. But adding Bianca in the mix, I think, is interesting. And I think if Sasha didn't go to the other company, she'd probably be involved in it somehow. But hey, they're paying her $10 million a year, so I can't scoff. I can't shit on that. Um, LA Knight and AJ, I think is going to be great because I like LA Knight. I just think LA Knight needs not necessarily a feud, but he needs a match that's really gonna make people remember him. That's really gonna like set people apart or set him apart from everyone else because for the most part, LA Knight is a promo. He's a personality. He says, "Yeah, and let me talk to you," and dummy. He hasn't really had a match that has made people remember him. He just has a lot of promos. So I think a feud with AJ and a match with AJ is really going to help him in the long run. That's really going to give him a shot in the arm.
I agree.
Trying to think of other matches. Rhea and Becky, I'm sure is going to be a good match, but I kind of feel the same way as everyone else when it comes to Becky. I don't hate her, but it's just like she. I don't know what happened to her. She lost so much muscle mass since coming back after she had the kid. Again, I don't know what's wrong with her. I don't know. Maybe she has like a medical problem, but again, I don't doubt the match with Rhea is going to be good. But I think that feud's been kind of it's lacking. It's lacking something, and I don't know what it is because a lot of it is just Rhea, telling Becky, you need this feud more than me, or you need this win more than me, and Becky out there just killing herself and having good matches, and then Rhea just shows up to to gloat and to smile right in her face. So um, they really do need to amp this up. Um, I'm trying to think of other matches that are on the card. Drew and Seth. Drew and Seth. There you go.
Yeah.
That's going to be a good match because these two can have good matches. They've had them in the past. My whole thing is I don't know if it's a WrestleMania match. That's why I'm convinced that CM Punk is going to get involved somehow. And I don't know if it's going to be. It's obviously not as a wrestler because tricep injuries are pretty serious. Unless it's not as serious as we thought it was, and maybe he decided to swerve us, and WWE's doing a really good job at swerving us. More than likely, it could be he's going to be a special guest referee for the match, or maybe he'll be the host of WrestleMania. I guess we'll find out tonight since Raw is in Chicago and Punk's there. And again, I think Drew is doing some of the best work he's done in a while, probably ever.
Yeah, he's been doing a lot of good work. He went to Mindy's Bakery today.
Mhm.
He cut a promo, and it's
Right.
things like that. It's shit like that. We wish that the elite did with Punk because I'm sure like CM Punk had a lot of things that he wanted to do to like basically to make money, but you see now with AEW, It's overall like there are some like bright spots, but overall it's not the same. Like them losing CM Punk really like hurt the company. Like I really just that star power that he had, like it's gone and they haven't recovered.
Yeah, I mean, they don't want to do business because they got their fifis hurt.
Yep.
You know, Kenny's matured. I think Kenny's actually willing to do business. He's like, oh, it's money. But you
Yeah.
know, the Bucks are like, well, you hurt our feelings. You hurt our best friends' feelings. You hurt our other best friends' feelings. And I'm just like, I guess you guys don't like making money. So
No.
whatever. We're
They
gonna make
should.
money with the Japanese guy that can't talk. With the guy that only like maybe a percentage of wrestling fans know, but you know, whatever. We're gonna work with a fat guy from New York in a wife beater. So, but I got nothing against Eddie Kingston. I like Eddie Kingston, but just I don't know. Just Kenny. I see Kenny on social media a lot, and it looks like I don't know. To me, it looks like he's getting sick of all the shit. Like he's even getting sick of Dave Meltzer's shit, where
Yeah.
he's
Yeah, I
talking
saw
about
that.
like 5-star matches are being thrown around like candy, and it's like, huh. And it's getting bad because even Kenny is calling out the bullshit. But yeah, that's AEW in a nutshell. But yeah, just WrestleMania. I'm obviously looking forward to it. I'm gonna say something that Justin said, that when it comes to like the main event, with Cody and the bloodline and everything else, is just they do need to amp it up a little bit. Like something needs to happen. Like I think a brawl needs to happen. I'm assuming it's gonna happen on when Raw goes to Brooklyn on April 1st.
Mhm.
I'm assuming that's the case. It should. I mean, I don't know if maybe The Rock can't really do anything too physical until Mania, and same thing with Roman, but it's just a lot of talking and slapping. I need to see a little bit more of that. I need to see some fire out of Cody. I need to see Cody just not beat the shit out of, but just go at The Rock and just like punch him in his fucking face.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
need to see Cody punch Roman in his fucking face instead of just saying oh, you're the tribal chief and you're great, but it's my story and I'm finishing. It's like, no, punch him in his fucking face, Cody. It's
Yep.
like with what Punk said. I want to see someone get punched in the face. Like,
Yep. He said that all the way back in February.
mm-hmm.
Mhm. Mm. Yeah, I do agree. Like certain things need to amp up. I think Bailey, Bailey and EO, like they've done a lot of good work. I do agree that Sasha Banks not being in WWE, it does hurt because the story could have. Imagine if we heard Boss Time over the PA system and Sasha Banks came out to help out Bailey to even the odds. It would have made much more sense. But she's not there. She's in AEW. Um, I don't get angry at someone separating a fool from their money. So if she wants to, she wants to get a easy payday, then go ahead. But it does hurt the story. Um, but maybe down the line they can have a continuation when she does eventually comes back to WWE. But Naomi and Bianca, they're no slouches. Like the story's in good hands. They just need to like amplify the story. Um, they gotta like put the story into the fifth gear. Um, let's see, Seth. Yeah, like you mentioned, Seth and Drew. Not a WrestleMania like main event match or like upper card or co-main event, but I wonder like we know there's a possibility that Drew could win, but I think the swerve is gonna happen with that because it's just telegraphed like, hey, he's gonna win, he's gonna win, he's gonna win. So I think there's gonna be a swerve with Damian Priest. You know, he's the wild card in this. And lately, I've been wanting. I've I want Cody to finish the story. I just want this whole thing to be over. But part of me is like, just let Roman retain. Just let Roman retain. If they burn down Philly, so be it. But it's kind of like it's been my uh just my the chaotic uh thought that I've been having, like, what if Roman retains? What happens then? But I don't think that's happening. If that does happen, I'm gonna be like, holy shit. But I don't think he's going to. I don't think Roman's gonna retain just because it seems like people are still pushing this narrative of Roman having to break Hulk Hogan's streak, and it's like he's not the number one title holder, and like why is this push for him to surpass Hogan? Like he's just going to be a third place, overall title contender. With it. That's not that doesn't accomplish anything, and I think the reason why they're just putting this narrative out there is because Hogan is a racist and whatnot, but that isn't a good enough reason for Roman to surpass Hogan's record. It just doesn't make any sense storyline wise or logic. There's just no rhyme or reason or logic for that to be even a thought in people's minds. But yeah, I mean, maybe we'll see. Possibly it could be some swerve, but I do think that Roman is losing. There's just no other like option. Um, I just don't see any other outcome but Roman losing. I just don't see anything else happening.
Right.
But I mean, I am excited for Mania. I really am. Um, I just I do wish, like you said, some of these storylines they had to get amped up. They had to yeah, they had to you got to put like a little dose of fire under these storylines because it's kind of like there. Um, Maybe in Brooklyn next week we'll see something happen in Brooklyn. Um, I'm 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 hype. Hopefully something crazy happens in Brooklyn. So we shall wait and see. Um, yeah, I think that's everything with wrestling. I mean, we could talk like quickly, like 5 minutes away. AEW. What was your thought of Mercedes Monet and her AEW debut? When I initially saw like the debut, I was just like, it's cool seeing her on TV again, but her promo, like just the whole thing was just, it wasn't good. It wasn't
No.
good. Like no, nothing redeeming about it. Um, People owe CM Punk an apology when they were bashing him about his debut promo. Because they were saying, "Oh, that's the worst," and I get it, but at least we did get a little bit of nugget of something with this promo. We didn't really get much, and it was very cringe. It just seems like she was like doing a retirement speech, and she was trying to gain sympathy, and just felt forced. And um, it just didn't make much sense at all. So what are your thoughts on the debut?
It was a shit promo.
Yeah.
Like the presentation was fine. I mean, her calling herself the CEO. It's like, oh, like she got a promotion, I guess, from being the boss to the CEO. Yeah, just the promo was so fucking script. It seemed so scripted. It legit felt like she was reading off of a teleprompter or, remembering lines. Just
Yeah.
her out there just sounding so fake and phony. You believed in me, and if you can be anything, you can always, dream of it, and blah blah blah, and just doing her usual shtick of, when I was a little girl, and Eddie Guerrero, and it's just like, if Eddie Guerrero were still alive, he would probably hate you. He would just hate you because you are the definition of an entitled, just fucking douchewad. But anyways, just everything else about the promo, just her doing the little like name drops of like, I used to wrestle at Chaotic Wrestling, and I'm from Boston. It's like, no, you're not from Boston. You're from California, and you trained in Boston. So stop. Boston does not claim you. Joey Numbers said so, and I believe Joey Numbers above anything else. It was a bad promo. Not good at all. Fake as hell, and she's getting paid $10 million a year by a complete mark who has an open checkbook. So,
Yep. I like sincerely, I do not think that Mercedes is gonna help that division. I really did this whole game changer terminology that's been used. I don't think she's gonna be a game changer. Um, they they have been they pushed that word so hard these past couple of years that doesn't mean anything anymore. It's just a buzzword that's used to make people feel some type of way. But with Mercedes, I really don't think she's gonna help that division. And there are people within the wrestling community that they planted their flag with Mercedes, and I like Mercedes. I like Sasha Banks, but I just don't think that she is gonna help that division in the short term or in the long term. I just don't think that she's gonna bring anything uh unique, and especially with promos like that. Yeah, good luck. Good luck.
mhm.
Um, yeah, just everything else. Um, yeah, just with Okada. I mean, I'm a fan of Okada. Saw him live over here at the Garden back in 2019 for the Super Card of Honor event with Ring of Honor in New Japan. He was great to see in person, but I think he could have benefited from being in WWE, gaining that, having that stage where he can be known and be introduced to an American audience. Like people that are watching AEW, they already know who Okada is. They already know who he is, so they're not gonna they're not gonna attract more eyeballs. It's just what it is. He's not gonna attract new eyeballs to the company. I think Mercedes drew more than Okada, I believe, and it's a shame because Okada, like he is a good wrestler. He does have a presence about him, but he's not known outside of the niche wrestling fan base. Um, maybe I'm proven wrong. Maybe not, but I just don't see him being a quote unquote game changer, just overall. And Will Osprey, I believe he has more of a chance, but still, he just runs into the same problems. And meanwhile, in WWE, you have Braun Breaker, you have Tiffany Stratton, you have Carmelo Hayes, you have Trick Williams, you have all these people that are have been built up over the course of a couple of years, and now they're like people are clamoring for them, they're cheering for them, and there will be megastars down the line. There will be megastars down the line. So I definitely believe that what WWE is doing with those names I named are they're gonna succeed down the line. I definitely do. Um, but yeah, I think that's pretty much all the wrestling news. We can we can definitely move on to the next and last thing. Oof. So Quiet on Set, the dark side of kids TV. So I saw 2 out of the 4 episodes that were out, and I vaguely remember a lot of the stuff, especially the Amanda show, a lot of the Amanda show clips, because I used to watch a lot of Amanda show. She was really, really funny when I was growing up, watching her on Nickelodeon. Very nice, comedic timing. She was funny, but the big bad, that being Dan Snyder. Yeah, the dude's a total perv, a creep, a weirdo, and there were other people that were in that circle, and essentially that Nickelodeon at the time fostered that environment and preying on these kids and having them do just crazy outlandish stuff in on TV. And some of the stuff that I look back now, I was like, whoa, that's effed up. That was really screwed up. What they had these kids doing. Um, just with the face, squirting things on kids' faces and having them do all these dares, and some of the characters that they were portraying, all the foot fetish stuff is just disgusting. And it was just this perv that was able to just act out his fantasies. And of course, like, the kids didn't want to cause a ruckus, they didn't want to say anything, because they're kids, that they what do they know? And also, some of the parents, and rightfully so, they was like, that this isn't right, this is very wrong. They rung alarm about it, but others really didn't know, or just turn a blind eye, because of course you know when it comes to child actors, child stars, and parents, a lot of them they will let these things go on and just turn a blind eye. And I think even Amanda Bynes, um I know Amanda Bynes, like, was emancipated. It's kind of the same thing that Britney Spears did. Like, she got emancipated from her parents. I believe, if I remember, but that's kind of like the thing that we see with a lot of child actors, and they usually get that they usually get that push to do it from from for the execs, the TV execs, the show execs, and we know how Amanda Bynes, like, how her downfall was played out for the world to see, and that type of abuse is just fucked up. It really is. And was it uh Drake Bell? I didn't get up to his episode. He's episode 3. I didn't get to that part, but I know he had he shared his stories of abuse at the time, and that takes guts. It takes a lot of guts to share that. And there was another documentary that talked about Dan Snyder and all his just disgusting things. So this documentary isn't, this TV series isn't like groundbreaking. Isn't groundbreaking like for me, but it encapsulates like what we already know, and we get a lot more of the child actors like perspective and what they were going through, what they were thinking about. But it goes to show that Hollywood is not this glitz and glamour place. It's just not this positive spin that's been put on. Like, it's just very, it's very, you know, malicious, and it's kind of what we've been dealing with the whole allegations of Vince McMahon and the whole casting couch culture. And the difference is that with Vince and his situation, it's with adults. But with this, the reason why it's so screwed up is because it's with children, and it's over the course of years, and it's been masquerade as, oh shit, it's just playing, they're just doing all these stunts, and it's much more sinister, much more darker. And I know you saw the whole thing in full.
Mhm.
And it's really, I want to get your thoughts. It was very interesting that all this is like coming out now. It's like it's been given the green light to go ahead. Like, it's okay to talk about this. Just like with the whole Diddy, all the Diddy allegations on his home in Miami and in LA have been raided by Homeland Security. And I quickly talk about that. That is just for them they're not going to find anything. They're going to basically hide evidence because, of course, with this, Diddy has his handlers, just like I believe Dan Snyder has his handlers, and the reason why he's able to have gone on for so long at the time with all his depraved behavior. So a lot of these people are let to do this, and then when so much attention uh, gets on them, that's when they come in and say, okay, come in and clean up. We're going to throw them to the wolves, and you see why this docu series is out with Dan Snyder. That's what you're seeing, everything that's been going on with Diddy, because they're basically on borrowed time. And when you piss off the wrong people, this what's happened. This what's basically a lot of happened. So overall, what is your thoughts on all this?
Um, like I mentioned, or like you mentioned, I did watch the whole series. It's just really heartbreaking what a lot of these kids endured, being on Nickelodeon, because in the 90s, Nickelodeon was king. That was like Kids Central. That was our shit growing up. All that, Keenan and Kel,
Hmm.
Good Burger was a movie. The Amanda Show, Drake and Josh, stuff like that. that was our shit. And like we were watching it, we were just like we'd be laughing. I remember essentially every skit. Obviously Good Burger. Repairman,
Yep.
Fiona Taint. I think that's what that was her name. Um, and I can go on and on. But just to hear these stories about how all these kid actors, like they were just kind of treated as, you know, statistics
Yep.
almost, or just another cog on on the wheel. It just sucks, and just hearing all the shady shit, which, you know, I don't have time to get into literally every detail, and I won't spoil the next two episodes for you, but it gets a lot worse and a lot darker, in the next two episodes, especially with Drake. Um, I know in the first two episodes, I'm pretty sure you caught this one, about that, one of the many pedophiles working on set,
Yeah. Yep.
that was it Jason Handy, I think it's his name. Like he was emailing this girl, this 8-year-old girl, and the mom knew about it, and she was like, "Oh, they're just emailing because he's telling her about her work and blah blah blah." And then he just full on sends a picture of him jerking off
Yep.
to her, and it's just like when I heard that, I went, like that's fucking sick. And I was about to say something else. I was kind of like it's worth saying spoiler because it happened in real life, but I don't want to like tell you everything else that happened. But they all in all, they end up finding the dude, and it's fucking sick what they find in his house.
Hmm.
And I don't know, just like when I watch that, like I like a lot of these crime docs I watch, a lot of them are very bleak, and there's been very few that have made me kind of have that feeling of like, well, damn. This kind of gave me that feeling of like, well, damn, and also just feeling heartbroken
Hmm.
because as a kid I was basically lied to, and I can't look at Nickelodeon the same. I can't look at these shows the same. I feel terrible for Drake Bell. I feel terrible for a lot of the kid actors on the show. Not just dealing with harassment, also the female writers, they're dealing with abuse and harassment, and a lot of the black actors who weren't Keenan and Kel,
Yep.
they were not kind of, but they were mistreated on set, and it sucks. It really does suck. Um, it was nice for Steve from Blues Clues to check in on us and wonder how we're doing. Um,
Hmm. Hmm.
which when I saw that, I can't lie, I got a little choked up. So I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, Steve cares about us." That's our man. That's Steve. Him and Jerry Trainer. Those are our dudes right there.
Yep.
They're invited to the cookout. Uh,
Absolutely.
definitely, they're invited to
100%.
the cookout. Um, but truly is very heartbreaking. Anything involving kids is always it fucks with your mind a little bit, even when they're not your kids.
Yep.
It's like kids should always be innocent. Nothing should ever happen to kids. And the fact that in Hollywood, you know, a lot of the shit happens. It happened a lot more back in the day. I don't know if it happens nowadays. It probably does. And they're just doing a better job at hiding it. It's just, a kid should be innocent. All kids have to worry. All kids should. The only thing kids should have to worry about is just like, hey, let's play video games. Hey, let's hang out. Let's do things that kids our age should be doing, and not have to worry about being assaulted by somebody you're supposed to trust. I mean, they even like preface that, in the beginning of the show, that a lot of these stories are about kids being assaulted and abused by adults that they were supposed to trust. So just,
Hmm.
um, I thought the documentary really, and I know Dan Schneider's a piece of shit, but when you look at all the stories, he never actually assaulted anybody. He was just a piece of shit. He was probably a sexist too, maybe a little bit of a racist. But as far as
Yeah.
like a rapist goes, it seemed like he didn't really do anything. Um, and he didn't hire those three pedophiles. They were hired by the studio. Um, and then Drake tells a story about Dan Schneider, being involved in what happened to him. Not that he did anything to him, but like he actually sided with him and was there for him. But yeah, they really went out of their way to really paint him as the monster, which I would say he was more of a piece of shit and an asshole rather
Yeah.
than like an actual like child predator.
Yep. Yep.
Um, so, but all in all, it was a very depressing documentary because it took something very near and dear to my heart and just said, "Hey, this is what was really happening." You were laughing, but these kids were doing their best job at putting a brave face on. So just I don't know, my heart goes out to those kids who majority of them are adults now, and Amanda really suffered at the worst.
Yep.
Um, Drake suffered at the worst. But luckily we still have them. Hopefully for Amanda, she can finally find that peace, and hopefully for someone like Drake, he's able to find that peace.
Yeah. There's no kid should have to go through what those kids went through. And I look again like a lot of nostalgia here, but you kind of look back with a jaded outlook because of how at first we grew up, we didn't know. We was laughing, we didn't suspect anything, but then all this stuff comes to light and you kind of look at things differently. And me and my friends, when we talk about the whole Dan Snyder stuff, it's like, damn, like we kind of knew something was off, but it's kind of like the dirty jokes that you'll hear on cartoons when we were growing up, but didn't understand them. And then when we got older and we understand the context, and it's like, oh, we put those pieces together, and now it's everything's very jaded now. Everything it doesn't is never going to be the same once we know. Once we know um everything, like once we know like what really went down, and we add the pieces together. And to me, it's reason why like as we get older, like a lot of like pieces of our childhood are dying. And Nickelodeon was a good chunk of a lot of you know people, kids' childhood growing up. And same with you, same with me. And we're never gonna look at that the same again because of just all the just all the twisted, just dark, depraved things that were behind those actions. So I do hope all the child stars who are now you know grown adults, I hope that they're able to get a bit of closure, can move on. I think things take time, but they can start to heal and to move on, because what they went through, no kid should have to go through. And there's a lot of pieces of garbage out there. Dan being one of them, those two other pedos. And I say this before we go: this whole pedophile culture, it has to be snuffed out. Just being afraid, not speaking up. By not speaking up, as soon as you sense something off, gotta call that shit out. Talk to a parent, talk to to an adult that can help. And the stuff shouldn't be under the radar. It should be put on blast, because when we shame people like that, they ain't gonna dare to do that shit. It's just this culture of I mind my business. Oh, we do this, then we're not gonna get it any. We're not gonna get money. Blah, 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 all this stuff. It's just certain things are way more important than money and fame. And we're seeing the result of these kids, their innocence shattered, life hasn't been the same for them, and it's a rough deal. It's a very rough deal. But um, in closing, uh, nostalgia can be a good thing, when it's done in doses, but we always got to remember that it is a lot of underlying messages to a lot of things that we watch, and context matters. Context matters a lot, and no person should have to deal with abuse. Those innocent shouldn't have to deal with that type of abuse, and I do hope those young men and women have some closure, and they can heal and they can move on. And yeah, that's basically all I got. That's basically all I got. Again, wow. Again, good show.
Yes, sir.
Uh, little. I mean, I like these shorter length shows because we're able to get you know able to go through everything concisely. But I did have fun doing the show.
Yes, sir. Me too. I always do look forward to these shows. I was looking forward to this one in particular because of just the content that we have. But yeah, look forward. I definitely do look forward to the next one.
Definitely, definitely. We we'll definitely be back next month, Lord willing. You can find me on X at Mr. Ruben Prime, and you can find Drew over at DY Experience over on X. And for $5 a month, you can get this show. You can get all the other Patreon exclusive shows that Drew has to offer on his Patreon, and also his experience podcast that he records live every Wednesday right after AEW Dynamite on the Discord, on the Wrestling Super Discord. So if you want to listen to it live, you can. And if not, you can listen to it on the download on, of course, all major digital platforms. So wherever you listen to podcasts on your phone, he's on there. I believe a few days after on the download. And yeah, so that being said, we will see you guys later, Lord willing, right here on the Drew Yari Patreon. Peace.
Peace.